can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine, yeah. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Cassandra Show. We hope that you all are ready for this amazing show. Listen, so many people have faced moments where life and death hang in the balance. And those moments often leave an indelible mark on the soul. A near-death experience, known as NDE, is one of the most profound events a person can go through. It's not just an encounter with mortality, it's an awakening, a journey that takes people to the edge of existence and back, often leaving them forever changed. These experiences can include vivid visions, out-of-body sensations, seeing loved ones who have passed, or even overwhelming sense of peace and purpose. Before we open up this heart-to-heart conversation with our guests today, I invite you to take in a couple of videos that capture the raw beauty and awe of near-death experiences. Y'all check this out.
Everything was just so beautiful.
What was Jesus wearing?
Had on white.
Do you feel his love?
It was peaceful. I didn't have to worry about anything.
He took you through a door? I guess you saw your dad first, right?
I did.
And your dad was okay?
Yes, it was like relief. It was, everything was just so.
Our guest story today is a powerful reminder, just like this video you just saw, that in our darkest moments, there is potential for transformation, for finding purpose beyond pain. He has become a guiding light for so many who have struggled, showing them that life on the other side of tragedy can be filled with meaning. Y'all, please help me welcome to the lavender couch, Chase, Skyler, DeMayo. So great to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. Please have a seat. What an honor it is. Welcome.
What an honor it is for me.
Oh, my goodness.
A legend.
A miracle. Come on, a legend and a miracle.
Well, I think the miracle is somebody doing what they grew up wanting to do their whole life. That's a miracle.
That's a blessing. Yes, it truly is. Thank you so much for that. So, Chase, I would love for you to take us back to that day in 2008. Yeah. What was happening in the moments leading up to your near-death experience? What did you see, feel, or even hear when you were on the edge of life and death?
Yeah, so it was a normal day the night before. I woke up. They found me unconscious on the Air Force base in my dorm room. They thought I was late for work, so they came in. I was unconscious. Took me to the hospital. I was so healthy at the time. There was no medical issues. Hooked me up to every machine possible. We're trying to give me an IV and blood work. And they said, we're going to do one more test. And if we don't find anything, we're going to send you home. We can't really figure out why you're unconscious. And that's where everything changed for me. I started to hear the alarms. It was much like something you would see on a TV drama. My vision started going from side to side, and audio was weird for me. And you can see the nurses and doctors start running, almost sprinting into my room, freaking out, right? I don't know what's going on, but I just know that everything is starting to really slow down. Like really, my life was slow motion. Somebody sat to the left of me and started to stroke my arm. While these nurses and doctors are looking over my body, panicking. And I look back at the time and realize that they're watching me die.
Wow.
What ultimately ended up happening was an air embolism. But I started to feel that pain of the air traveling up my arm and going directly to my heart. And of course, when that happens, you flatline and die. So while I'm watching these nurses and doctors panic and they're, medical terms, just like really like a movie, shouting at each other, the gentleman to the left of me is slowly stroking my arm, saying, it's going to be okay. This is really going to hurt, but it's going to be fine. It's stroking my arm. And even though that the alarms and the doctors and nurses shouting should have been so loud, what was loud to me was the gentleman sitting to the left of me. I kept trying to look over to see who this was, and it was like I was being stopped from looking over to my left. And just at the moment where I finally was able to look left, there was nobody there.
Wow.
But what was there was a monitor to the left of me where I watched myself go completely flat. And
you saw it flatline.
I completely saw myself flatline on the monitor.
Wow.
And so at that moment, you realize, I had enough mental awareness to know what happens, what that means when the line is flat.
Yes.
And then also confusion immediately of there's nobody to the left of me, but it was so real of somebody stroking my arm.
Yes. Was there anything that you saw? You said you didn't see anyone stroking your arm, but you felt them. Was there anything at that time that you saw besides the machine that was flatlining?
Not at that time.
Nothing.
It was just this constant reassurance that everything was going to be okay. And I
you
trusted
felt
it.
like everything was going to be okay.
I was not afraid besides that pain of watching, of feeling the air traveling up. It felt like a speeding bullet really going up my arm. So that was painful, but I was surrounded by complete peace and comfort at the time. So I really wasn't afraid.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We saw the video of the young lady who was talking about she had a near-death experience. And I can only imagine that they're all different. They have to be different. Yeah. She described different things that she saw and his countenance and all of those things. Am I getting ahead? Are you getting to that point? Did you see?
I did.
Oh.
I did. And that's really where the story for me starts. When I saw myself flatline, the best way, because we're in Florida right now, it felt like ice water in my chest on a hot day. This beautiful feeling of like coolness and freedom and no gravity, and I saw the light. And I'll be honest, the night before I died, if you would have asked me what heaven was like, I probably would have said it was Elvis and Jackie Wilson waiting up there with me with cookies and milk. Like, I didn't know what to expect. And this beautiful tunnel of light just took my chest, like really like light opened up from my chest. I traveled up and it sounded like music and this peaceful, almost like laughter, but you couldn't hear or see anybody. And next thing I know, I'm in this incredible garden, this beautiful garden of colors that, I mean, your set is beautiful. And it's like colors that we just don't even have on earth. It was a garden filled with bright colors, almost like a vibration, right?
That's powerful. That's powerful.
It was beautiful.
So, no, I don't want to stop you at all. It was beautiful. We want to hear about the beauty. You know, we read about it in the Bible.
Yeah.
But when you talk to someone who's had that experience, it's so amazing. There was another video that I saw, Chase, of a young man who spoke to his mom and told her that he had seen Jesus. And he literally passed away after that, and he did not return. But he was able to talk to her and tell her what he saw. And you all said some of the same things, which was amazing to me. This was an 11-year-old kid. He was like, he didn't have long hair, Mom. He had short hair, and his eyes were so beautiful. You would say his eyes are more beautiful than mine. And then the young man passed away in the hospital. They had him in the hospital. So it makes me believe so much. You are the first person I've ever met that had a near-death experience. So it's an honor to have you here, because we talk about faith and belief in heaven and the afterlife and all of that. But to be in a space with someone who has actually been there, and God said, you must go back, your work is not done, is very powerful.
Thank you. It's an honor.
For that.
It's an honor.
So we're going to go to break shortly, but before we do, I want to talk about the moment that you felt this arm stroking this hand stroking your arm. Did you ever come into understanding with that? Who would you say was stroking your arm?
I think the best answer is I didn't see a face. I only heard a voice and the comfort. It was exactly who needed to be stroking my arm would be the answer, right?
That's powerful.
Whoever it was the right person. You know, I was a 19-year-old kid in the military. I wouldn't want another guy to stroke my arm, even if I'm dying,
I feel you,
right?
Chase, right.
But at that time,
it was the right person.
It was the right person in the right tone with the right comfort. And sure enough, there wasn't anybody there that we could see.
That's powerful. Well, listen, we're going to take a short break. We're here with Chase. He had a near-death experience. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the Sandra Show. We are sitting here with Chase Skyler DeMayo. He said, who says it, that's how it depends how it's being said, like a tomato, DeMayo. So we are here with Chase DeMayo. I love to say that. And he had a near-death experience, and he's here. He lived to tell the tale. So we want to talk about when you came back from your NDE experience. How did it change the way you viewed life, Chase, your purpose, and even death itself? This is a two-part question. Did it feel like you had been given a second chance, or did it carry a different meaning for you?
It was, the answer is both. So when I was in heaven, I saw myself as a little boy running around and playing, and he was playing, the little boy was next to Jesus, and I'm like watching this little kid run away and try to be silly and have a good time. And when my body came back down, I immediately got the message that I am taking life way too seriously. The pureness of a kid laughing is unbeatable. They're not stressed. When they go to the beach, they're watching the sunset. They're watching the water. They're not thinking about bills. They're not thinking about their neighbor.
Right.
So for me, not only was it a second chance to do everything that I wanted to do previously that I missed out on. I got into breakdancing. I got into ballroom dancing. I did stand-up comedy. I got into photography. I started doing everything that I missed out on, I felt like, you know, by joining the military.
Yes.
So it was an understanding of, I have a second chance. Let's do it the right way this time.
Yes.
And then also this profound love of, why are we taking life so seriously while we're here? Some people will try to live a life to get into heaven, but how can we create heaven while we're here?
Ooh.
And that's what I think.
Come on now. That'll preach.
That's what I think I learned, was to enjoy what's right in front of me.
Yes, heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Yes, that is so powerful. You know, you mentioned something about being a child and embracing that youth. It's so amazing how it takes experiences like that for us to understand that, wow, you really are like going in a direction that isn't you.
Yeah.
How did we get so serious? And it's amazing that God would bring you away so that you can come back and do it differently.
So
that is
grateful
so
for that.
powerful. And I must say this as well, because we are so grateful to our military. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for letting me serve.
Thank you. Oh, it's an honor. So you kept your experience private for over a decade.
Yeah.
That's a big secret to keep. During that time, what were the internal struggles that you faced?
Yeah, it was a question of, why did I get to come back? I would quite literally, when I was alone, shout at the sky, why did I get to come back?
Wow.
But there was this fear that, one, people would think I was crazy. Maybe if I had heard a similar story watching the Sandra show ahead of time, and I would have thought, that person's crazy, they're making it up.
Right.
You don't know, you know? So there was this fear of judgment, especially in the military. If we're taught in the military to internalize everything. There's no weakness. You can't show pain.
Right.
Whether you're in for a year or you're in for 20 years, you're keeping all of that bodied up, because you can get kicked out of the military for asthma or flat feet or sleepwalking, let alone if I said I met Jesus in heaven. You could imagine the reaction of the military.
Like, what is up with this guy?
So I was afraid of losing my career by sharing my story. And at a certain point, I realized that I was given a gift and I'm keeping it all to myself. So who cares if people don't believe me? My job is not to make people believe me. My job is to resonate with people that feel and that know that heaven is for real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I tell you are resonating with us right about now. Can the church say amen? So the transition from silence to speaking out about something as personal as a near-death experience can be really daunting. How did your relationships with family and close friends evolve as you began sharing this experience when you said, I was in heaven and I met Jesus?
Yeah, I was so easy to tell it right away. So as soon as I came to and I woke up in a different city altogether, in a different hospital than where I died.
Oh, wow.
So I called my friends and said, I just died. Let's get out of town. Let's go have some fast food. I was like,
really?
Yeah, I was like, I died. We're going to go live it up. Like, we went to Washington, D.C. for a weekend and had fun and saw the monuments. And so at first I told everybody. And then you start seeing people's body language that go, as you're telling them this beautiful story, you can see people aren't ready to hear it. And that's when I started to creep into my shell and keep it a secret. And I went on this mental health retreat with the Wounded Warrior Project with veterans.
The Wounded Warriors.
They do incredible stuff.
Yes.
It's this all expense paid. They do a men's one, a women's one, a couple's one. And it was a chance for me to just focus on myself for a week. No cell phones. We did breathing work, and we just relaxed. We swam with dolphins, had this incredible time.
That's amazing.
And when I came back, my wife said, you're a different person. And that's really when I said, you know what? It's time for me to start sharing this story with
Yes,
everybody.
and if anyone can tell, the wife can tell, right?
She knows.
Honey, you're different. Yes.
Yeah,
and so just come on, and she stood with you to share this very powerful story. That's amazing. What's been the most surprising or unexpected part of your healing journey since your near-death experience, Chase?
I think I thought I was alone for a while. I didn't know the term near-death experience. I didn't know that there were other videos out there like that.
Right?
I didn't know that the image of Jesus that I saw is a famous painting out there in
Correct.
the world, which is exactly how that 11-year-old described. He had short hair. You know, I think a lot of images of Jesus are of him suffering, and they forget that he led a beautiful life living up to those
Yes.
moments where he was healthy.
Yes.
And so when I saw Jesus, he was healthy. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not how I grew up seeing him. So for me, once I realized that I wasn't alone and that these are very common stories, and it just takes somebody really brave to be able to share theirs. But
Yes.
there's millions of people that will comment anonymously on YouTube that this happened to them, but they're afraid. And so they keep it internalized. So I think the biggest surprise for me is finding out that this happens all the time.
You know, I was surprised and pleasantly surprised when we got your story and then we start doing the research and, of course, the video that we shared. It's like, wow, this is happening to people. It's a real thing. Yeah. And I want people to understand that you are not just this only person. Let us show you that he's not the only one that's coming forth and sharing his story, but it's so powerful and so needed that you do. That you really do. So you've become a true beacon of light for others who have experienced trauma, particularly veterans. Mm-hmm. How do you personally stay grounded and continue to heal, especially when helping others confront their pain?
I think if I am able to speak as often as possible and share my story, it's that one person. If 2 million people watch a YouTube video, that's great. But if one person can say, I feel so comfortable now, I feel validated, it's all worth it. So staying grounded for me is just knowing that the more I share my light with everybody, if it can take somebody who's in a really dark place and just add a little bit of light for them, then it's all worth it.
Yes.
And so it continues to make me know that I'm doing the right thing by sharing the story.
Yes,
You know?
I agree with you. So let's say, looking back at your near-death experience, what would you say is the most profound lesson or insight that you carry with you every single day? When you wake up, that is the first thing. You cannot get this past the forefront of your mind.
Laugh.
Really?
Laugh and smile. And then I would say the third thing, which I was talking to Luke about earlier, your incredible band is, you know, kids grow up. There's something that our soul tells us when we're little kids, when we don't have this stress, singing or music.
Yes.
I loved music when I was 5, and then my music teacher was kind of mean to me, and I quit music. And now they've got a 9-to-5 job. They're not happy. And all of a sudden, they rediscover music somehow. They take a music class, or they're you know, insecure, so they pick up a guitar and learn on YouTube.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, their soul feels aligned again.
Yes.
So for me, it's like, remember the things that you loved as a kid and don't give up on them. There's a reason why as little kids we love those things.
Yes.
And you're an embodiment to that. Like, you are doing exactly what your passion has carried you. You know, you're doing something you love.
Yes.
And everything else falls into place for that. And some people are afraid. They go, well, I love this, but I have to pay the bills, and I've got a family. I've got to get a nice house and a car.
Right. They're focused on the way to take care of these things, opposed to just inserting yourself 100% authentic and just knowing that when you're that, things will come to you. I say to the band all the time, one of my favorite phrases is use what's in your hands. Yeah. It's amazing what we have in our hands, and we look beyond them for something else.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be this grand thing. You don't have to go into being a preacher or working in your church. You don't have to become a doctor, right? Yeah, exactly. if you can share a little bit of kindness and open up the door for somebody, you don't know what kind of day they're having.
It's true.
I smile at everybody, and I know 9 out of the 10 people think I'm weird at Publix. But if that one person is having a bad day and I smile big, then it's all worth it.
Correct.
I don't need anybody I don't need the gratification back. I just think if we just do nice things for people.
I'm with you, Chase. You might be on aisle 9 and I'm doing it on aisle 10
That's right.
at the grocery store.
I heard you singing over there. It's like, that's the Sandra.
Exactly. Like, what is up with that girl? There's an amazing joy that is just natural and lives in me. And at some point, it was the same thing. Like, you get away from what you love to do. And now I feel like my passion and my purpose have aligned as well as yours. And there's nothing but joy in that. Every day ain't happy, y'all, but there's joy.
That's right. And that's as close as we can get to heaven while we're here.
Oh, I love it. Well, I want to be as close as we can. Chase, would you please share with us in maybe 20, 30 seconds, what would you like for our viewers to know that we may not have shared with them today?
You know what? If you have, I would just say advocating and believing somebody. You don't have to believe their entire story, but if you just give somebody the time of day, if somebody is going through a tough time and you can send them somewhere, you can say, you know what, I heard a similar story about that on the Cassandra show, and you know, you can go to this website and there's
Yes.
help for you, and there's people that will believe you.
Yes.
Don't discredit anybody who's had an incredible experience, because there's a reason they had that experience. And if you discredit them, they're not going to share it, and that defeats the purpose of them dying and coming back.
Right?
I wish I
It
didn't
is
die,
so
but
true. When you say that, that's just so powerful. I died and I came back. Well, the one thing I do want to say, y'all, Jesus is real. Thank you so very much, Chase. We appreciate you coming here. To our viewers, thank y'all so much for joining us. Until next time, we'll be back here tomorrow for The Culture. Y'all get us out of here.